You're live.
I'm live. Hey,
What's your name?
Mike Ross. We're going to look at a hive of bees and see if they're all still in here. I know they're not all here because a bunch of them's going to get something to eat. But they might be about ready to swarm. I may have already swarmed. Found a capped queen cell a week ago today in here. And I knew I had to get back at least by today. Maybe sooner. Okay. There's a hive beetle. There's another one. Another one. Another one. But the bees are packed in here, so there's not, hive beetles aren't a problem in this hive. They're not packed full of honey. There's no new white wax up here. Okay. You can check for queen cells. Right there's one. There's one. We tore into this one when it pulled it apart. That's got a larvae in it, I believe. Yeah. You can zoom in right down here.
All right, let's get over here at a good angle.
You can see the larvae floating in that royal jelly. And this one here. There's a bigger larvae right there.
Move your head.
Right there.
Okay.
This one, that one's got just royal jelly, maybe. I don't know.
Well, now, Mike, when you pull them open like that, looking at them, doesn't that mess them up?
It will, yeah.
But you do it anyway.
Some of them.
Okay.
I don't want them to swarm, really.
All right.
So we're gonna look at some of the bottom frames.
There's a good number of bees in there.
There's still some empty frames on the outside here, so they shouldn't be in swarming mode yet because they're not that crowded.
Uh-huh.
But they did have a capped cell a week ago. And it's possible that they're not crowded because they already issued a small swarm.
All right.
When you're doing an inspection, you always pull a frame that doesn't have many bees on it. That's less chance of hurting the queen by pulling it out. Then you have more room to work. Spread them apart. That's an empty frame, almost empty. I can, if they're crowded up in here, I can put the empty frame in the middle and open up the brood a little bit and give the queen a place, more room to lay. All these things that I'm talking about will help reduce their swarm tendency. This hive is not as strong as some that I've been in recently. So they may be all right as far as swarming. I don't know why they issued that swarm. I mean, had that capped queen cell though.
Well, I've got a question. It looks like you've got every other frame in that right-hand side of the hive is plastic. What's going on with that?
I just got some of both kinds.
Okay.
Now we're getting into the brood.
Now, there's your family.
Yeah. Okay, there's cell.
Some drone.
Yeah, and a queen cell. And I won't destroy this one in case they need it.
Okay. I feel better. Now, I just saw you blowing on them.
To move them out of the way so you can see.
Okay.
Just
And the ones I've got, you blow on them like that and they're all up in your face.
and some of them really don't like your breath.
Yeah.
All right.
And these look like some small bees too.
They're acting real nice today.
Yes, they are. I don't have on a veil. I don't have any type of protection. And I've only had a couple bang the back of my head, nothing in my face.
Now I can check for eggs. I found a frame with a lot of empty cells,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to check for eggs. And I see one that's leaning over. So we had a queen in here 2 days ago at least. But I don't see any fresh eggs. I'm still thinking there's a possibility that there's bees hanging in a tree around here somewhere close.
Well, if it is, we'll go find them.
Hopefully. And the see, there was a queen cell right here that pulled apart when I separated the two
Uh-huh.
boxes. There's the bottom of it. See, it's ripe. If you look at the bottom of that queen cell, you can see that it's getting real thin.
Okay.
That's what they do when they're about ready.
But now everybody's in there cleaning it out.
Yeah, the larvae. No, she's not as near ready as I thought. She's still not developed. And there's really not much point to even look for that virgin queen. She might, if there's one in here, she could be, she's real hard to see, hard to spot. And if they have a virgin queen, she could be on her mating flight right now. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, nice and sunny and warm.
Mighty warm for the end of February.
That's all pollen.
All right.
Well, mostly. So these can go back together.
Hey, you made a comment about the time. It's 11:45 and February 28th, 2017.
We're seeing what you would expect to see the 1st of April on a normal year. Or at best the last week of March. Cleaning up the edges of the frames makes them easier to push close together and easier to separate the next time you come in. And I'm giving them 2 relatively empty frames in the center. I mean, right here in the
Right.
brood nest, and putting the honey on the edge. A little smoke like that will keep them from jumping up in your face when you startle them. That's pretty heavy, but not as heavy as it's not completely full. But they're about ready for a super. If they had the queen and the rest of those bees in here, I know they'd be ready. I might pull a frame at the top, see if there's any brood and fresh eggs up here. And if it is, it'd be right above the brood nest. You separate them as much as possible before trying to remove a frame, so you have room to pull it out without mashing or rolling bees.
Yeah.
Straight up and easy. Okay. Empty cells with no eggs. Beside where it's hatched out. There's an egg laying sideways in that cell. So they could have swarmed yesterday or the day before. That's the outside of the brood nest. Normally when you see a frame with that much pollen and honey, that's on the outside of the edge of the brood nest.
Okay. And so the bees won't necessarily put it right dead in the center.
The pollen and the honey, the brood nest could be on either side, but it's usually right above where the main brood is in the bottom box.
Oh, okay.
It's always, they'll keep it together.
Not quite so far for the queen to travel.
And easier to keep warm.
Okay.
The warmth is the main reason. I'm looking for any sign that there's a queen in here, and I don't see a sign that there's a queen in here. As far as I'm looking for a new egg. Eggs are sticking straight up in the cell.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other edge of the brood nest. The top box was full of honey, so that they just had to use honey above the bottom brood, use up the honey so she can move on up.
So there was a place to put eggs.
Right.
Okay.
That's probably why they swarmed. They like to go up, and they could have jumped over sideways, but they prefer to go up, and there wasn't room.
So at that point they were honey bound.
She was running out. Yes, they were approaching being honey bound.
Okay.
At least in their mind.
Well, from what I've seen of honeybees, it's what they think that counts.
Yep. Right.
They may be totally wrong, but if that's what they think, you got to go with it.
And they don't always read the book.
I've heard that.
Well, I think we're done
With this hive?
with this hive.
All right. We'll put her back together.